Hello, boys and girls. Miss Nikki is going to read to you some funny, a little dark sometimes, fabulous poems by Shel Silverstein. A light in the attic. A light in the attic. To Shanna, he dedicates the book. A light in the attic. There's a light on in the attic. Though the house is dark and shuttered, I can see a flickering flutter. And I know what it's about. There's a light on in the attic. I can see it from the outside. And I know you're on the inside, looking out. Interesting. How many, how much? How many slams in an old screen door? Depends how loud you shut it. How many slices in a bread? Depends how thin you cut it. How much good inside a day? Depends how good you live 'em. How much love inside a friend? Depends how much you give 'em. I find Shel Silverstein to be very wise and sometimes funny. And his humor could be a little bit dark. But nonetheless, he's pretty funny and clever. So I hope you enjoy my reading. Let's move on. Moon catching net. And here's the picture. I've made a moon catching net. I'm going hunting tonight. I'll run along swinging it over my head and grab for that big ball of light. So tomorrow just look at the sky, and if there's no moon, you can bet I've found what I sought, and I finally caught the moon in my moon catching net. But if the moon's still shining there, look close underneath. And you'll get a clear look at me in the sky, swinging free with a star in my moon catching net. Hammock. Oh, there's the hammock. Grandma sent the hammock. The good Lord sent the breeze. I'm here to do the swinging. Now, who's gonna move the trees? What a playful boy, huh? Silly, you're supposed to lay in the hammock and not swing the hammock. You're supposed to lay in it and you could swing as you're laying in it. The boy's talking about swinging the hammock like this. Like I said, the author's clever. How not to have to dry the dishes. Oh, this is a funny one. If you have to dry the dishes, such an awful boring chore. If you have to dry the dishes instead of going to the store. If you have to dry the dishes and you drop one on the floor, maybe they won't let you dry the dishes anymore. Look at the picture. The boy dropped, or the girl dropped the dish on the floor. Oh my goodness. I'm sure her mom and dad won't ask her to wash the dishes anymore. Stop thief. Policeman, policeman, help me please. Someone went and stole my knees. I chase him down, but I suspect my feet and legs just won't connect. The sitter. Ooh, look closely at the picture. Mrs. McTwitter, the babysitter, I think she's a little bit crazy. She thinks a babysitter's supposed to sit upon the baby. Look at that. Look at that. What do you see? I see feet. Oh, she's sitting on the baby. Prayer of the selfish child. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. And if I die before I wake, I pray the Lord my toys to break, so none of the other kids can use them. Amen. What did the carrot say to the wheat? Let us rest. I'm feeling beat. What did the paper say to the pen? I feel quite all right, my friend. What did the teapot say to the chalk? Nothing, you silly. Teapots can't talk. Shaking. Shaking. Geraldine, now stop shaking that cow. For heaven's sake, for your sake, and the cow's sake. That's the dumbest way I've seen to make a milkshake. Signals. Signals. When the light is green, you go. When the light is red, you stop. But what do you do when the light turns blue with orange and lavender spots? Picture puzzle piece. This poem makes me think of when I find a loose puzzle piece on the floor and I'm thinking, where does it go? Or what's the image that this belongs to? One picture puzzle piece lying on the sidewalk. One picture puzzle piece soaking in the rain. It might be a button of blue on the coat of the woman who lived in a shoe. It might be a magic bean or a fold in the red velvet robe of a queen. It might be the one little bite of the apple her stepmother gave to Snow White. It might be the veil of a bride or a bottle with some evil genie inside. It might be a small tuft of hair on the big bouncy belly of Boo Boo the bear. It might be a bit of the cloak of the witch of the west as she melted to smoke. It might be a shadowy trace of a tear that runs down an angel's face. Nothing has more possibilities than one old wet picture puzzle piece. Put something in. Draw a crazy picture, write a nutty poem, sing a mumble-gumble song, whistle through your comb. Do a loony-gooey dance, cross the kitchen floor. Put something silly in the world that ain't been there before. Okay, now this picture is for the next poem. Monsters I've met. I met a ghost, but he didn't want my head. He only wanted to know the way to Denver. I met a devil, but he didn't want my soul. He only wanted to borrow my bike a while. I met a vampire, but he didn't want my blood. He only wanted 2 nickels for a dime. I kept meeting all the right people at all the wrong time. Rockin' and roll, or I should say rock and roll band. If we were a rock and roll band, we've traveled all over the land. We'd play and we'd sing and wear spangly things if we were a rock and roll band. If we were a rock and roll band and we were up there on the stand, the people would hear us and love us and cheer us. Hooray for that rock and roll band. If we were a rock and roll band, then we'd have a million fans. We'd giggle and laugh and sing autographs if we were a rock and roll band. If we were a rock and roll band, the people would all kiss our hands. We'd be millionaires and have extra long hair if we were a rock and roll band. But we ain't no rock and roll band. We're just 7 kids in the sand with homemade guitars and pails and jars and drums of potato chip cans. Just 7 kids in the sand, talking and waving our hands, and dreaming and thinking, oh, wouldn't it be grand if we were a rock and roll band? All right, that's it for now, boys and girls.